often find myself lost in thought, replaying the moments that unraveled my life at 27, a time when I stood at a crossroads between my best friend Noah and my boyfriend Jacob. The decision I made or failed to make changed everything. And even now, years later, I can still feel the weight of it pressing against my chest. Noah had been my rock for as long as I could remember. We met in high school, two awkward kids who bonded over shared playlists and late-night talks about our dreams. Over the years, our friendship grew into something I cherished deeply, a constant, unshakable presence in my life. He was the one I called when I aced a test or bombed a job interview, the one who showed up with takeout and a terrible movie when I was too sad to leave my apartment. There was a comfort in his presence, a familiarity that felt like home. But beneath the surface, I'd always sensed something more. A lingering glance here, a too-tight hug there. Hints of feelings he never spoke aloud. I ignored them though. I told myself it was just Noah being Noah, that our friendship was too precious to risk on something as messy as romance. Then came Jacob. I met him at a friend's wedding where the air buzzed with champagne and laughter. He was standing by the bar, his dark hair catching the light, and when our eyes met, it was like a jolt of electricity shot through me. We talked all night about nothing and everything, and by the end of it, he had my number and a promise to call. He did the very next day, and from there our relationship bloomed fast and fierce. Jacob was different from Noah in every way. Where Noah was steady and quiet, Jacob was bold and passionate. He made me feel alive, like every moment with him was a scene from some grand love story. He'd surprise me with flowers just because, plan spontaneous weekend trips, and kiss me like he couldn't get enough. I was swept away, convinced I'd found the kind of love I'd always dreamed of. But as my relationship with Jacob deepened, cracks began to form. He started asking about Noah, casual questions at first like how long we'd been friends or why we spent so much time together. I'd laugh it off, telling him Noah was like a brother to me, nothing more. But Jacob's unease grew. He'd tense up whenever Noah's name came up, his jaw tightening as he muttered about how guys and girls can't just be friends. I brushed it aside, chalking it up to insecurity. After all, Noah was harmless, and Jacob had no reason to worry. I loved Jacob. Didn't that count for something? Looking back, I see how naive I was. The truth crept in slowly, like a fog I didn't notice until it was too thick to see through. It started with little things, staying late at work and texting Noah to meet me for drinks instead of going home to Jacob. I told myself it was innocent, just two friends catching up. But those nights stretched longer, the conversations grew heavier, and the lines I'd drawn in my mind began to blur. Noah would lean in close, his hand brushing mine, and I'd feel a thrill I couldn't explain. I'd catch myself laughing too hard at his jokes, lingering too long in his gaze, and then I'd go home to Jacob and lie. Work was brutal, I'd say, avoiding his eyes as I slipped into bed. He'd pull me close, and I'd feel the guilt twist in my gut, sharp and unrelenting. I was cheating. Not in the physical sense, not yet. But emotionally, I was giving Noah pieces of myself that belonged to Jacob. And I knew it. The secrecy, the stolen moments, they fueled something reckless in me. I told myself I deserved it. That Jacob's jealousy was suffocating. That Noah understood me in ways Jacob never could. But deep down, I knew I was betraying the man who loved me with everything he had. It all came crashing down one night. Jacob had been quiet for days. His usual warmth replaced by a distance I couldn't bridge. I came home late, another work night, and found him sitting on the couch, his phone in hand. He didn't look up when I walked in, just said, "Where were you?" His voice was calm, but there was an edge to it that made my stomach drop. I stumbled through my usual excuse, but he cut me off. "Don't lie to me," he said, finally meeting my eyes. "I saw your location. You weren't at the office. You were with him." The air left the room. I tried to deny it, to spin some half-truth about a group hangout, but Jacob wasn't having it. He stood up, his voice breaking as he told me how much he loved me, how he tried to trust me despite the nagging doubts. "I'm not crazy," he said. I see the way he looks at you, the way you light up around him, and you keep choosing him over me. He asked me to block Noah, to cut him out of my life completely. It wasn't an ultimatum. Not exactly. Just a plea from someone tired of feeling like second place. I should have seen it for what it was. A chance to fix things, to choose Jacob and the love we'd built. But I didn't. I got defensive instead, my voice rising as I accused him of being controlling, irrational. Noah's my best friend, I shouted. You can't just make me ditch him because you're insecure. The argument spiraled, words flying like shards of glass until Jacob grabbed a duffel bag and started packing. I can't do this anymore, he said, his eyes wet with tears. I deserve better than this. And then he was gone, the door slamming shut behind him. The silence that followed was deafening. For days, I wandered around our apartment like a ghost, replaying every moment, every lie. I missed Jacob. His laugh, his warmth, the way he'd hum off-key while cooking breakfast. I tried calling him, texting him, but he didn't respond. And in that emptiness, I turned to Noah, hoping he'd fill the void. He was there, of course, like always, ready with a hug and a shoulder to cry on. But it wasn't the same. The thrill was gone, replaced by a knowing realization. Noah wasn't my savior. He was a crutch, a distraction from the mess I'd made. I started therapy a few weeks later, desperate to untangle the knot of emotions inside me. Sitting across from a stranger, I poured out the whole story. The friendship, the romance, the betrayal. My therapist didn't judge me, just listened as I worked through the why of it all. Why had I lied? Why had I clung to Noah when I had Jacob? Took months, but the answers came. I'd been afraid of losing Noah's safety net. Afraid of fully committing to Jacob. Afraid of facing myself. I'd used Noah as an escape. And in doing so, I'd wrecked something beautiful. Cut Noah off eventually. It wasn't dramatic, just a slow fade until the texts stopped and the meetups dried up. I needed space to heal, to figure out who I was without either of them. And as I did, I started to see Jacob's side. His request for boundaries wasn't about jealousy or control. It was about trust, about protecting what we had. I'd been too stubborn, too selfish to see it then. It's been years since that night, and I still think about Jacob sometimes. I heard through mutual friends that he's happy now with someone new, and I'm glad for him. As for me, I'm different, stronger, I hope. That chapter of my life was a painful lesson, but it taught me what love really means. Honesty, respect, and the courage to set boundaries. I lost Jacob because I didn't understand that then. But I get it now, and I carry that wisdom with me, hoping one day I'll get the chance to love someone the way he deserved to be loved.